welcome everyone. That didn't seem to work. Wonder why. Huh. Okay, maybe no stream. Never mind. Doesn't look like my settings is correct. There we go. Okay. Alright, hey Nico. Hey Sadra. Yeah, I have not streamed. Well, I was on Duke's stream last Saturday, or 2 Saturdays ago, but I'm gonna stream the list as I last had it. I gotta spend too much time on the intro. If anybody has any questions, long story short, this is the Gaddock Teeg unbanning, so to speak, between creative technique and the unbanning of Mind's Desire. I think Gaddock Teeg, well, even before Mind Desire today, I think Gaddock Teeg was already worth it because of the new creative, whatever it's called, creativity technique deck, and there's gonna be a lot of people presumably on that because it's easy to play. You only play one card and you win. Um, I think this list is like pretty straightforward, right? I just like the cleanest mana base possible. I really only just have one utility land, the lair, because I think a bog is more or less a must. Um, the question I get asked a lot is why only two bowmasters. I just don't think it's actually as good in our deck that, and I don't think we need it. Is the long story short. Like, um, most of the X ones we care about are out of the format now. The other reason is we're not a deck that can actually shuffle it away with brainstorm if we draw it in a bad matchup. And I actually prioritize like sideboard haymakers is the other reason why I'd only play two. I just don't think it's. I think it's a little bit overrated in our deck. I think it's like not as extreme, obviously, but it kind of reminds me of Veil of Summer, that is secretly a blue card. Um, I remember people were clamoring for a Veil of Summer ban, many years ago, uh, during the Snowco era, and I think it's kind of like that, where we can use it for some value, and I like that it's creates two bodies. I just don't think we really need it, and I don't want to draw a dead card when it's bad, right? Like it's not good when you're behind on board. Is that's the short story. Uh, the goal for the throw is probably what's the card that's gonna draw some questions. I just want that card to be like another fifth removal spell, and I think this is like the highest floor card. Uh, I don't love Assassin's Trophy because I don't want to give our opponent land. That's like the short story. And the other question I get a lot about Baseju is, oh, why no Baseju? Like, what do you really need it for? Like, I've never really felt like I wanted a Baseju outside of me like drawing it randomly to hit a I don't know a underground sea out of Doomsday or something like that. But like you can't tutor for it, so I don't think you make the best use of slots. I just rather have clean mana base. Is Teeg important enough to warrant Savannah? I have no idea how fast this creativity deck is. Um, my logic is if I have more white cards, I want to play Savannah. If it's just a singular Teeg, I'm hoping to tutor for it. I'm just gonna accept that. I'm gonna have to cast it off Noble, in the case. I don't want to make my mana base worse for one card. If it's like multiple, I'll play the Savannah, but I just don't think it's worth it to making the deck overall worse. And I'm okay with having a tutor for Noble Hierarch if need be to cast Gaddock Teeg. But yeah, this is the Gaddock Teeg appreciation stream, I guess. I never thought I'd utter those words, by the way. I long thought Gaddock Teeg was unplayable. Uh, I think the last time I seriously considered Gaddock Teeg was to 2018, and that was right when Deathrite Shaman got banned. I was pretty much done with Gaddock Teeg. Yeah, you have a 20-ish% chance of having Noble naturally, anyways. So, Radio Mars. The other thing I would recommend is like if you're trying to improve, some people just watch for leisure, and I think that's perfectly fine. But I think if you want to really improve, uh, I would recommend really paying attention to the details, like the fetch patterns, like how I sequence. I think that's the only way you get better. I don't think you can mindlessly watch and improve too much. I think you can take some things from mindlessly watching, but I think that's more for leisure than anything else. I don't think this hand is playable. It's got two slow lands and no black source. Like, what's the best way? You draw a Bayou, cast an ignoble. Man, it's like I don't love it. It's like very close though. I don't know what my opponent's on. That might like if I knew I would factor that in. Also, shout out while I get the chance to Min. Um, he, as you notice, my setup is a little bit different today than normally. And that's because Min actually recommended I get a new monitor. So what I did was I just like turned my table around and faced the other way because I'm using essentially a dining room table the long way now. Um, as much as I would love to keep this, I feel like it's slow. So I'm gonna mulligan. This is like a lot better, right? I like thought about it for what it's worth. It's just the fail rate is kind of high, and my logic with this deck is always I believe my deck is better than my opponent's. So if I get to play Magic, then I should be able to win, right? Okay, I'm more glad now that I mulliganed. What is going on here? Looks like they're on Moon Stompy, which is actually a decent meta call. It's good against the creativity deck, and it's probably good against Mind's Desire, right? Sure. Yeah, I would say if you know your your range is pretty wide and your whatever you can build any deck. I think Moonstompy is probably pretty well positioned because it's good against. Um, so the question is, do we want to draw any of these cards? The Green Sun, but maybe not the lands. So I do think we can take this and just like play conservatively. It's not looking great. It's time like this where I want that Allosaur Shepherd. Sure. I'm not gonna fetch. Wow. Okay. That's actually a hell of a draw. For those who don't know why that's a hell of a draw, I suggest you brush up on your familiarity with the deck because things like this should be kind of automatic, in my opinion. I don't mention this too much because I don't want to turn people off from the deck, but the level of proficiency that's kind of actually required is very high, and if that scares you off, or hopefully it doesn't scare you off, but um, I would recommend like a lot of the things that I think are very easy to recognize. It should be kind of muscle memory, and if it's not, I think it would be in your best interest to review. Lou off. 1 second. All right, we have a natural order coming here. This is a lot. I get a lot of questions. Why do we not cut Atraxa? This is why. This is not really winnable without with other cards. Like they had like pretty much the dream start, and we're gonna kind of win easily now. It's kind of disgusting, to be honest. What do we want? Um, Green Sun. Uh, once. I think Fiend Artisan is more. Well, let me see. Do we want Fiend Artisan or Bowmaster? I think probably Fiend Artisan, and then I'm gonna take the Cradle. The upside's too high. And then pass. We actually pitched two things. I think that's actually okay. Uh, that and probably that. The game might just be over, to be honest. This is why we play Atraxa. Yep. Alright. We cheese the win, so to speak. That's also why I play the high density of fetches, right? Like, fetch lands are just really broken in general, and even more so in our deck. I should bring up, it's been a while. Oops. I should bring up my sideboard guide. Some of it I remember, other parts I don't. I know I bored out the lair because I'm expecting Moon. I think, okay, I bored out Gris. The endurances are good. I think I bored out Hoof because I just don't think they can beat Atraxa. That's the logic. Like, I'm going to dare them to beat an Atraxa. And that is it. Looks like I don't board in the Snuff Out, which, I'm sorry, the Gopher Throat. That makes sense because it's slow. And then I think that is it. Gaddock Teeg is just off of natural order. I don't think we needed to beat them. Not to mention the weakest Fury. Can't natural order if I track it when she's in your hand. I gotta mold this hand, I think. Otherwise, it would have been great. Right, like if we don't have the, ironically, a mold of 6 is like better here, right? We could put the Atraxa back and we get the natural order. One thing about Savannah that is like could be relevant is it makes hard casting Atraxa slightly easier, but I don't think I want to play for that. That's like very corner case in my opinion. This is like a Moto 5 already, right? Ugh. I think I'm gonna keep because I don't want to go to 5, but it's not great. If our opponent starts with a tournament challenge, it's kind of bad for us. But I don't want to go to 5. It's like playable, I guess. Not to mention, going to 5 means it's hard to beat Fury because you can only bluff so much that you have natural order. Speaking of which, that is a good tool to use, by the way. The ability to know what is a scary board state for your opponent. Alright, I don't know if we had the basic in the other hand or not, but that's problematic. Anybody who remembers can let me know if we had the basic or not. I feel like we did not. We're gonna take the lands, but it's not great. This is one way we lose the game, but it's not really anything we can do about it. We don't have Force of Will, which is a set we're gonna die to something like that. good thing is our opponent is hellbent now. So our opponent's playing around Forces Leader too, by the way. That's the reason why they like. It's actually kind of hard for us to answer a Magus. Like if our opponent wants to go all in on Magus, like that's something we live with, right? There's no point in my opinion at least, playing inferior cards like Dismember. When Moloch gets released, things may change, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon because of legal rights. From what I understand, at least. I don't really understand the situation with Moloch and the Warhammer cards, but based on everything I heard, it's not any. It's kind of coming to MTGO anytime soon. Otherwise, I'd be tempted to play one copy. That's the clock. Assuming we don't draw out of this, there is game 3, so I'm not super concerned. Like, I'm more concerned of just, the point is to learn and essentially see where the deck is at than to actually win these league matches. Obviously, if you can do both, that's nice. Sure. Alright, we're gonna go to 10. We're on a 2-turn clock. And we... Another reason why I like the Once Upon a Time is it takes 5, right, for that force. Can't do it. We missed, obviously, but if you play like a 3rd force, it's like reasonable. Alright, we're probably dead regardless. Alright, we'll go to 6. Even if we draw a green here, I think we're forced to block, and I don't think we can block properly, especially since... Alright, we're dead. One nice thing before was I used to play like 4 Bursler Rangers. You could just like morph them here and just like start... And they don't have any pressure, but didn't really help here. I don't think I'm really changing anything. That's another reason why not to play the Go for the Throw, by the way. Alright, let's run it back. We're on the play now, so that likely won't happen to us. I don't want to keep a one-lander on the... I don't want to keep a one-lander on the play, because if I whiff, we'd probably lose, to be honest. That's mulligan. This is like significantly better. Put this away. We're looking for a fetch or basic right here. Yeah, I'm gonna play around the Blood Moon here. Very rarely will you see me not take Cradle, but given that we have Reclaim already, I think it's correct. Yeah, I feel like the first hand is just I tend to be risk averse because, like I said, I believe in the deck. I want to minimize variance. If you think you're the type of player that can struggle in the mid to late game, it's probably better to take more chances. So, in general, the more you feel disadvantaged, the more chances you're willing to take, and the more you feel ahead, or the less chance of variance you want. I clicked through it, but it's possible I wanted to what is it? It's possible I wanted to hit the Chromox here, but hard to say. I like yeah. Yeah. Hey, Straz Daddy, how's it going? Let's make you a mod, actually. Yeah, so I clicked through it earlier, but there's a chance I want to just force this Chromox. I don't know what's correct, to be honest. It doesn't, unfortunately. I wish. Well, it does if you have a basic swamp, right? I think here we just play the Reclaimer now. I'm gonna Stone Rain them. Sure. Mm. Oof. It's a little too dicey. Well, we can high roll grist mill and grist now, right? Uh, Max. I think here, I think I want to grow a Reclaimer. I'm just gonna get actually another fetch because I'm my plan is to rotate it away and just like make it big, right? Ooh, that's actually not bad. I don't think there's no reason to play right now, and I think I just want to grow the Reclaimer, so I'm gonna pass. Like we're not under any kind of pressure, and especially we draw another Reclaimer. I want to go like Shepherd into Reclaimer, and then just like start beating down with our 3/4. I mean, we already got Furied earlier. We hit the Chrome Mox, but didn't end up mattering. I think it was probably correct. We didn't know we were gonna get Chalice, but we still. That's why we had the second Shepherd here, right? Like 2 copies. It's tight for sure. The window. Question I get, or something that maybe question that comes up is why Snuff Out against the Magus deck? It's because they have the Chaos Adventurer and Rabble Master. So Snuff Out is a card that in this matchup either is insane or does nothing, and I'm okay with that kind of variance because this is a matchup that they're like very all in on certain hands, so it could just win you the game on the spot. So now we get the second basic here, and we have the 3/4 Reclaimer. I think the best draw here is like another reclaimer. That's not great. As a general rule of thumb, I think that we're the one playing defense here, so I don't think there's a need to attack. Could yeah, I don't think so. That's a great question, Max. I have thought about in recent days because we have like the 23rd land that's kind of a flex land. Um, I have thought about the basic swap, and it's gotten a little bit better because of the Bowmasters too, and it helps cast Fiend Artisan. I haven't actually messed with it, but that is a decent on the to-do list, right? In hindsight, I might have wanted to play the Fiend Artisan because the Reclaimer's already a 3/4. So in case I drew, well, the problem is then I have to pitch something, and I can pitch the Shepherd, I guess, and ramp to a Dryad Arbor, but I don't know if I love that play. But that might be reasonable. Right, if I have the Fiend Artisan here, it's a 2/2, they can kill it. Granted, could have Dead Gone, right? But then ideally I ramp and then get myself close to the natural order. Or if I just draw a land, right, then suddenly, yeah, I think in hindsight I regret this play. I think I should have played with the Artisan. If I draw another land, what I could have done was play the Shepherd, pitch the Shepherd for Ignoble, and then I can actually cast Snuff Outs. Smells like Fury. I'm gonna block though. If they want to pitch the Fury, I don't mind that at all. And then because then I have a big Artisan now, right? Yeah, it's possible the Moon hurts them more. They can if they have Simian Spear Guy, they can hard cast Fury. But then they're turning on my Snuff Outs, right? Like every fetch land represents Snuff Outs back on, right? Okay, I think they're gonna hard cast Fury. That's they just have to wait another turn. It's kind of very curious. Maybe they want pressure. If I take that, I go to 11. Oh my god! Don't tell me it's another hard cast Fury. Sure. I think I block here. It's kind of hard though. Let me think. The chalice is there. Because yeah, the chalice cuts off a couple of lines, so I think I'm okay with that. I think it ended up kind of being the same. It would have to have needed to, well, yeah, I think that I screwed that up. I should have probably not blocked. I mean, not blocked. I should have sequenced the artisan first. Ugh. Probably a punt on my behalf. I hate losing to this deck though. I think there was two misplays by me. It's possible. I think I'm supposed to just let the magus go because, like Straz Daddy mentioned, they were probably hurt by it more than me. And then the other misplay, obviously, I should have sequenced the artisan first. All right, we're dead. Thank you, David. Yeah, I not very sharp there. That's the thing about this deck, though. You kind of can't really afford to misplay, and I don't mention that too much because I don't want to scare people off the deck. But it's, like I just made a game-ending loss, right? I think it's probably the most difficult deck in Legacy. They're probably on some whatever. What is it called? Mind's Desire deck. I saw in a group chat or Discord that they were excited about it, so I presume they're probably on Mind Desire. Ooh, that is not good. If they're on 8 cast, we got the buy. No. Oh, that was a mistake. That was bad. I should have played the Verdant. I did it too quickly. Gave away information for no reason. Let me turn off the AC. It's like a little cold in here. The other thing is I build the deck pretty much with no training wheels, so to speak. Like I don't play the third Bayou just because I think it's something I would recommend if you think you're gonna make mistakes. But I personally don't play it because I just want to assume I can play airtight. Not always the case, but something like that. I think the sequencing I have under control. Ooh, that is nasty. Crud. Sure. Did not expect that. Looks like it's almost like they did waste some resources though, right? It's like a 4 for 2. I think I'll probably take that any day. One, two, three, four, right? Yeah. I think they kind of have to too. Like they know collector ooze in my list. It's easy for them to Google that. What did it reveal? Verdant Catacombs? Yeah. Luckily, that's the card they already knew. LED, sure. That's not good for us. Hmm. Too bad our wheel was pretty bad. Our opponent's in the tank. Relay for 5, sure. Let's see what they exiled. A pretty decent relay. 2 LEDs. And our echo was pretty awful. Alright, I think we plus here. I think in case we draw the Bowmasters, we leave up the black mana. Did not draw that. That was another awful once. Do we want to pitch that in? Probably. Vital Flame math could matter. The good thing is we've dug like 8 cards ish deep now. I think the remaining draws should be pretty should be a higher percentage of relevant cards, but we shall see. Yeah, that deck looks like it auto loses to collectors, so I get why they did what they did. I think we're dead though. I see a Burning Wish and 2 LEDs. So presumably they're gonna appear and then drop their whole deck and then we're dead. There is probably some benefit to bluffing Bowmasters now that I think about it. Um, that might have been worth it to be honest. So that they don't peer, right? That's a guaranteed win if they go for peer. Looks like they're not gonna go for desire. Strange. Well, they could still peer, I guess. Sure. Maybe they just whiff. That'll be funny. Last one. Nice. That is funny. So they can cast. All right. They they probably assume we have something, but we have like blanks. But our top deck is probably good. We'll never know, I guess. I mean, they're dead anyways, right? They're hell bent. I guess they could like top deck something relevant, but I think Gaddock Teeg here is like really good. What do we see from them? I think Force is probably really good. Endurance has no text typically when Rider Flame's involved. No Bog either. We saw Mizzet, whatever that card is, Mastery too, which is interesting. I don't know if that's enough to. I don't think I want. Well, Veil could be interesting. The interesting thing is our Veil isn't great, but it can actually protect the God of Teeg, which then becomes huge, right? And I don't think I like love any of these other stuff that I would be bringing back in for Veil, for instance. So I think that's probably fine. It's like pretty good. Ideally a second land drop, but can't complain when we got 2 layers of threat, and then the long play is collective, right? One thing that I like too is speaking of protecting a collective, with Gaddock Teeg in the list now, we have a second tutor target to get. That's sure. So they have all zeros, which is interesting. I wonder if there's any reason to do it now. I feel like probably not. So question here is like, do we seize Or do I think we seize because there's no payoff here, right? Actually, the reason to fire off the force here is to force the bobble draw. So I actually misplayed. I think I'm supposed to force him to draw, so I see what it is. Now I can't take the card. Sure. So that was a misplay on my behalf, but something to be mindful of. There's no reason now to fire this off. Sure. Mm, in case it matters. I don't know. They have like Flusterstorm or something random. Actually, they had. That's a misplay by me. They already had access to red regardless. I should have tried to cut off their. Now I'm getting punished, but I could have actually hit their LED. So that is now a backbreaking game losing play by me. Just like bad play right now by me, to be honest. Like literally game losing play, but because I didn't. I fired off the force too early, and that's actually pretty good. So the question here becomes, well, I can just get an echo, right? That's the Burning Wish is exiled already. I think I can just lock them out here. Okay. Better lucky than good. Alright, I'll bring up my deck list again. I'll take a quick restroom break and we'll be right back. I'm back. I think there were like two, three takeaways maybe from that, or two takeaways from that game. Number one, on our opponent's behalf, they either misbuilt or just didn't see the line where they could just peered, and that should be the win, right? Um, so that's number one on our opponent's behalf. They either missed it or they just misbuilt the deck, which can happen on day one of the unbanning, right? From our side, we obviously misplayed two times. The first one was I should have forced the Vigor to pop their bauble so we can actually so we can actually seize what they can potentially draw into, right? This is pretty decent. And then number two, we punted by forcing too early because they would have had Mox red mana anyways with the Opal, and then we could hit the LED, which gave our opponent the ability to wheel, right? Here we just want a second land. I typically don't like lair early. I think we'll just take the Misty and fetch Bayou Green Sun. What this does is it allows us to top deck Cradle and we can go Shepherd into Gris. I think even before the addition of Bowmaster, I started fetching Bayou a lot more already because of main deck snuff out. In general now I default to Bayou first. If I know for some reason they're on like Moon Stompy, then I'll get a basic, but that's about it. Sure. So this is the interesting thing here, right? Our opponent's probably on some kind of Bowmaster's deck. We don't want to like run our Fiend Artisan into a Bowmaster. Bowmaster is actually pretty awful against us. The one scenario where you make it good, the one scenario where you make it good is by giving, by allowing it to hit Artisan. We can just slam Gris here. I feel like that's probably wrong. If they are on days, I think we just go Shepherd into Reclaimer here. And then, like, they have to deal with the Shepherd, otherwise we have a... They have to deal with a Shepherd, otherwise we have a uncountable Gris. It is the enemy of the... It is the legendary Kithkin himself, Gaddock Teeg. So the interesting thing here is that's like a telegraphed. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. It's a telegraph Bowmasters, and I'm trying to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. I'm just gonna pass this. All right. It feels to me like they're gonna Bowmasters hit the Shepherd, in which case then we can play the Gris anyways. And then maybe they force here, I don't know. So they did have the days, at least we didn't run the days into it. I feel pretty good about this matchup for what it's worth. Yeah. The thing is, like, this card is kind of bad, to be honest, against us. Sure, it can kill our 1-1, but they're trained down on mana, and we don't have any draw spells, so, like, it's just a Fire Imp, right? That is awkward. They could have a Murktide region. It's just like, are we playing around that? I feel like if they Murktide us, Want to bot? Yeah, that's what I'm considering, right? Like, do we care? Let's see what they do. I tapped wrong. I should have at least threatened a Bowmasters too, right? I guess this is a must force anyway, so it doesn't matter. Fiend can Great Chris, that is accurate. You're right. I feel like it's a must force. I could be wrong. Maybe people don't respect Artisan. If they have removal, then they don't have to, but like, they're thinking about it. Oh, they lost connection, that's why. It depends what they do. If this resolves, I may not bog. I want to get a cradle. But actually, I'm flooded anyways, so maybe it's worth it. Okay, so they did that. One card on top. I think we probably bog now. Yeah, I think we probably just bog here. I don't want to get a handle a Murktide. They can deal me 3, that's fine. I feel pretty ahead, to be honest. If it was a Bowmasters, I don't know if they're like going for the blowout here. I don't think we can afford to take that risk. The reason why I'm leading with a fetch here is because we only have one more fetchable, and I want to fetch it away. This may draw out the wasteland, which is fine. I'm gonna allow it. Wow, they're not gonna waste the cradle? That seems suspect in my opinion. Maybe they just think we have too much mana now. It's very strange to me that they didn't waste the cradle. It could be Sauron's ransom here. What are they gonna target? I think we take the layer here and force the action. They want to attack for 4, that's fine. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Man, it's gonna feel bad to get this dazed. I don't think we can do that. 4. Yeah, I don't think we can do that. I did not expect that. Jesus Christ. The 7 would have been nice. What do I want to do? I think I get the save life here. Okay, so Drown and Lock should be on our radar going forward. Oh my god. Our, our draws here. We have 2 draws. Or 1, maybe. Endurance would be an insane top deck. Oh my god. Jesus. Gotta take. I feel like it was correct to play around the days there. I think that's more likely than Drown in the Lock. Okay, we're just dead. Oh my god. It's insane to me that they didn't take the Cradle. That's like seems kind of loose on their behalf, but that's maybe they. All right, now we're just dead. We had a lot of outs and we just didn't draw anything for multiple turns. The good thing is I do feel really good about this matchup. I think we can still win 2 games, post-board games. That was just kind of brutal. That can happen with our deck from time to time. Like, we can flood out and it just happened that we did there. Unfortunate. The interesting thing here is like, it's really awkward in that It's really awkward because they can like kill our Fiend Artisan if they don't like ignore our turn one player. It's like really awkward play patterns. I think we still ramp though and just like assume they play correctly. Maybe the way they're playing, we should have just taken the Bowmasters, but it's hard to say. Sure. In hindsight, yeah, maybe I should have taken Bowmasters in this matchup. They lead with Delver, right? Although they probably don't play Delver. Or this is a must kill here. They probably have Bolt. Sure. Might have had a flooding problem again. Thank you for the follow, Radio Mars. Good games earlier. That's interesting. Question is where they could have Thoughtseize. That's the reason to play it. I think it's a bog time. Well, actually, let's see what this flips. They miss. Uh, I would actually just spend my mana accordingly, Max. That's a good question. I think here, like, I'm debating whether I want to bog here, and if they want to attack for 3, that's probably fine. I don't think we can allow um, a Murktide region to resolve. Yeah, I forgot what happened. I think I made one mistake, but it is what it is, right? It's part of the game. It probably hit the layer, sure. I think there's a good chance they smash here for a bunch. No? Okay. Where is the Plague Engineer? Plague Engineer is not a playable card. The deck thinning, I think here we want Arbor. We have 2 black swords. We can hard cast enough out now. If they want to, they could have Bowmasters us already if they wanted to. Not for me. I don't think I care. Okay, right on cue. Draw the snuff out. Um, that is okay. I'm gonna pass. So they know about it. It's gonna miss again? Yeah, looks like it. Counterbalance. I don't think they have a 4, so the snuff out is gonna resolve. Snuff out to stop triggers? What do you mean by that? Alright, how do I want to do this? I feel like I want to go. That's 5. I think I want to main phase this, honestly. I don't think I have 3s. So that means no Saron's ransom if they chose not to reveal. And I think here we can just now attack. Start pressuring. Oh, that's true too. That's right, David. All right. Here am I with the slow play, so I gotta speed up the pace a little bit. I gotta be fair, right? I'm the one with the slow play this game. That's a really good hand. Oh, they're going 5, 4. All right, I think the game is over. Yeah. I hate to win like that, but I think there. I don't know how our opponent built the deck. Maybe um, either I can think of like Andy is supposed to be a pretty good player, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Like either their deck just doesn't line up really well against us, so they have to mulligan aggressively, or two, maybe they just didn't draw well, right? Like it can happen. Um, or maybe they built the deck in a way such that they're a little bit more susceptible to mulligans. Those are like the things I can think of. But I know Andy's a pretty decent player, so I'm not. I'm pretty sure he mulliganed for a reason. I'll put it that way. Um, with that said, I'm gonna use a quick restroom break again. So the good thing is, I definitely punted that first match here. Like it's possible I'm supposed to just force the Chromox. I'm not 100% sure what is correct, right? Maybe it's worth the tempo. I don't know. I definitely did not play well in this is like the worst I played tonight so far, and then I think I played the best right now against Andy. My round two was not a good showing for me personally. Yeah, okay, so let's go to the deck list. The reason why I don't play Plague Engineer is like, what matchup do we even want it for? Like, I think all the good matchups have been unfortunately pushed out of the format. Combo Elves, uh, like 8 cast is kind of down. What else is like Plague Engineer good against? It's good against Breakfast, but I think we're pretty good there as well for what it's worth. But yeah, our arguably two of the three best matchups are pushed out of the format at the moment. So by Bowmasters. Now, obviously, 8 cast can still win. Like I've seen some people. Oh my god, they've mulliganed to 4. I smell Reanimator. Like what else could it be, right? Mm. What is going on? I'm really confused. They mulled to 4 and forced my once. What is going on here? Oh, it might be show and tell? Like what? I think I'd have to hit the pedal here. Let's don't rain our opponent here. The other thing about Bowmaster, it's like super telegraphed, right? Like, I'm pretty certain now that our opponent is on show and tell. So we don't have any kind of kill coming soon. We'll bash with this. And I think we're just gonna hold up Bowmasters for potentially a faster clock. If I want to daze this, I think we're okay with that. Ironically enough, the clock is the same. I think we've won, but you never know. Yeah, okay. I'm putting them on show and tell, right? Like based on what we've seen. Teeg makes his debut tonight. Actually, we boarded him earlier. I take that back. Let's take out a bunch of stuff that we don't need. Let me just concur with my sideboard map. See, that's correct. Here oh, I think I got updated. I bought out both copies of the Shepherd. I think here I kept in the Collector. Ooh, what is different? Oh, Force of Vigor. That's what's different. I think all the relevant spells are actually non-black. So I actually think we don't actually care about Shepherd here. The Shepherd's gotten worse and worse because the more disruption we have in other colors, I think the less it's good. Like, yeah, all the... Ooh, I don't want that. Maybe it's okay to keep the one. The oof is kind of like loose too, but maybe it helped that game. I don't know. Maybe we can salvage this 4-1 league. Mulligan. That's pretty good. I think it's the Reclaimer that needs to go. In case they show and tell, right? They can show and tell the Atraxa. Here I'm not fetching beforehand because we know the bottom card is... What is going on? They could have just flustered that. I don't understand. Like, what? Unless they needed a brainstorm here or something, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know what's going on here. Like, they lost their fluster. They could have kept their force. This doesn't make any sense. Shuffle. White? What is going on? Okay, interesting. Maybe they forced this, I don't know. So this is an interesting decision to make, right? Like, whether to cast the Hierarch or not. I think the answer is yes, because I can hard cast Force next turn, if need be. And we can still pitch the Atraxa in an emergency. That's good. Glad to hear that, Connor. Yeah, I'm on Teeg. It's not because of, ironically enough, it's not because of today's unbanning of I forgot the card's name. It's not because of today. It was actually because of the other deck. Yeah, not because of Desire. It was because of the creative technique deck. I think here. I think here we bash for 2. I think I'm gonna hold the Reclaimer as Force Pitch. And then I'm gonna put in Gaddock Teeg. And then play the slower game. I don't want to die to sneak attack is the thing. Like, this matchup, we can beat Show and Tell. The hard card to beat is Sneak Attack. I'm trying to figure out what the white is for. I still have not figured that out. It's entirely possible we're supposed to play the Reclaimer to speed up our clock because we can get Cradle on a turn faster. But I feel like I want to play it safe and like keep a Force Pitch in hand. Something's going on now. That's the what is going on? I've seen this for the second time now. What is? Where is this deck coming from? I don't think I want to figure out what their deck does. So oh, it feels really bad right now. I feel like we have to kill this thing. It's like too scary. And I think we want to keep the Gaddock Teeg. I this I That's insane. This is the second different player I've seen play that card. I don't know what's going on. Like, is that like a thing that just happened over the weekend? I had never seen this card until last night. This is the second night in a row I've seen this card. Sure. All right. I think we take definitely the Seas, the Gris, the Land, and probably the Bowmasters, I guess. It's too bad they see first. I don't understand what is going on. Do not understand what is going on. We drew four, I guess. We're missing instant. I think they're gonna put three in hand. Sorry, four in hand. Land, creature, petal, and oh, what a strange thing. What's going on? See, like our opponent is not playing optimally. I think like there's no reason to play that petal there, in my opinion. The Bazooka Drifter is three though. That's why I'm confused. Um, we can't even cast Force because of the Teeg out. I think just in case we play that and play a Seas, see what they do.
Oh god, that's bad. I clicked too quickly. I should have. Well, actually, no. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Like the bowmasters, like the three creatures don't really matter. Like I think it's better to protect against Flusterstorm. Actually, I might have lucked into the correct play. Huh. So sneak attack or the thing. We take the creature. I think we fetch here so we don't want to lose the second Bayou. Actually, I could have just ticked down. What am I doing? But it's okay. I think that's fine. Scar on turn and sneak attack. I'm playing kind of loose here. I could have killed their attractive. Not that I don't think it matters, but the problem is if they played another, I guess, Hazoret, then I would have been out of luck, right? So might have been again the right play by accident. I just don't think we're losing, right? If we just continue to play board control here, and we got our Teeg. I think we just slam this now. Ooh, that is a card. I think we boarded out the lair, which is unfortunate. I think we just want to bash here. I'm trying to think how we lose now. Like there's so many outs that's left for our opponent. That's the thing with this deck. It's not really how you win, like combo L's or Reclaimer Glimpse before. It's just like how do you lose, right? Like, sure, we can just kill it, right? Mm, I guess what they could do is like get down to one card and then like trigger this. That's like kind of cute, I guess. But they couldn't even play the sneak attack, which is the problem, right? Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like Galactic was very good there. So Galactic already, pulling his weight. The legendary Kithkin himself. Yeah, I I had not played Teeg like or seriously considered Teeg since 2018 when Deathfry got banned, and now suddenly I think it is like one of our best silver bullets over the past 3 days, which is kind of nuts. I only started considering Teague again because of that creative technique deck, which It's one slot, and I think that the matchup is probably abysmal without it. It might still be abysmal. I think here is the decision is like whether to play the force or open us up to. I don't think we want to open us ourselves to wasteland given this hand. The way we win is probably like get lucky with a Traxa or like Teeg or something like that. Days? That is actually really good for us. Stops ring, but it stops ring and like a bunch of stuff out of control. It's not really what it's for, but like it won me like a match the other day. It's good against Mystic Forge. It's good against Sneak Attack, which is actually really important because that's actually one of the hardest cards for us to beat. I think here. You got to be kidding me, man. People have their stifles. Oh, it's probably for that Cascade deck. Yeah. That's annoying. Oh my god. It's more annoying than anything else. Like I feel like opponents trying to cheese a win with Stifle. I've had games where I've won where they like stifle my first two lands and just they didn't have any pressure, right? But like sometimes it can work, right? And now we're missing a land drop. So they went turn one, dazed, showed Volcanic, dazed their thing because they couldn't stifle or fetch. So that was kind of lucky that we played out the basic. Yeah, I'm not bringing against it. Mostly chalice decks. Tarmogoyf. I feel like we've gone back in time. The irony here is that's right. Tarmogoyf counts R's too, which is annoying. I don't think we're allowed to block here. Well, we pitch endurance. If they have an instant, we get blown the you know what out. I almost wonder if it's worth it. It's a 2-3 right now. It could be a 3-4, but our Artisan is a 4-4, so it maybe trades. Actually, let's try it. We're not gonna cast the endurance anytime soon. Oh wow, okay, it won on the spot. Cause I'm thinking about it like we're not casting this anyways, so there's like low risks, right? All right, we gotta board all this nasty stuff out. Endurance is insane right now. Why is that the case? Endurance has always been good. I'm not disputing that. I'm just like, why is it any more better now than it was like, a week ago per se? Da, 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 da. I think that's like reasonable. Yeah. It's definitely needed against scam. That's like the only way I think I lose against Shadow. They like scam me and like hit my tracks or something like that. No, please don't try to cheese another game. Oh my god. So the question here is, do I just like wait and do nothing? I think, yeah. They don't do anything. Maybe I don't need to do anything. I just hit land drops naturally. I don't want to get stifle here. I think we can play this game as much as I dislike it. Feels like they have stifle. We're forced to act now. Sure. Uh, maybe it's they're gonna waste me for certain. If I play Reclaimer, that doesn't really solve anything either. I absolutely hate playing a Stifle. I think it's possible I'm supposed to, on their turn two, they did nothing. Maybe that instead of waiting to turn three, I'm supposed to do it on turn two. Hey Mike, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Sure. What do they do on their turn three? Nothing? Okay, that's good. I'm gonna go take care of that first. See what they do. Don't daze me, bro. Sure. Oh my god. Okay. We need to hit. Nope, didn't get there. I'm trying to think what I could have done differently. Um, I think turn two might have been the turn to activate my fetch, because what that does is, well, they probably have bolt in hand. They could stifle my thing and then bolt me. It might have been the same. Sorry, bolt my creature and then play the Goya for turn earlier. Because I think that's exactly what happened anyways, right? Like they ended up bolting my ignoble turn four, yeah. So I'm not sure anything changes. Sure. I don't love this, but I think here we need a. Yeah, let's do that. They probably want to waste me, is my guess. That's why they made that play there. No. Hmm. Take a veil here, right? Wow, what a blowout veil was. Okay. I'm pretty ahead now. If they want to waste me, they can. Question here is like, do I care to snuff that thing out? Probably. Because if it flips, then it's like I take 3 life anyways. Sure. I think now is the time to probably bog. We don't want well, we can't cast the grist anyway. What, because of that? So here, the not having the third body is hurting me. I think here we play it safe and bog. Ironic part here is they probably want to hit the lair. And if we stick the grist, we probably just win on the spot. Sure. We're gonna play through days here. Trying to think the best way to do that. Sure. That's a bad use of stifle. Um, pressure or play around land plus the whatever. I feel like pressure is the answer. Sorry, not pressure. Leave the Fiend Artisan back. Sure. So we have lethal here, I think. So six, unless our opponent stifles our layer activation. That's the only thing, right? Okay. All right. We nice recovery here, 4-1. We lost our first match of the night. We call it to Moon Stompy. I put it game three, but we also probably were gifted the game two here. By our playing the Mind's Desire deck with the obligatory warm up. I think the deck felt good. The Veil was just obscene in that last game. Like, I think I do want at least one in the 75. Two is like, if you draw against the wrong deck, like, I'm not sure how good I like against blue red, for instance, right? Like, we were lucky to counter the minor misstep. But I think it's like in general not good outside of like Grixis Delver or Shadow. Granted, those are popular, but I found myself losing to like Blue Red Delver when that traditionally has been a really good matchup. And I think it's just because like I was over metagame, so to speak, for the current top decks of Shadow and let's bring up the deck. Over metagame for for Shadow and Grixis because I had two Veil Summers or like a Fairy Macabre or two Fairy Macabres and Veil. And Macabre is good against the scam package, but not so much against like the if the, like an outdated, if you want to call it, a version of Shadow or a is it Delver deck? Like Macabre doesn't really do it aside from shrink DRC. You kind of have to get lucky. So I ended up cutting it, and I think that's okay because I think we have a lot of graveyard hate anyways. Against Reanimator, the scariest card is anyways is Show and Tell. But I think the list felt good. I don't know how we didn't never really saw this card, but I do like it in theory. Like I kind of see it how like the control decks see old school double blue counterspell. It's just like a catch all. Um, I played a Power on in the 5 league that I had before, and I just think consistency is key for this deck. I don't think I need that. And I didn't. What I found out is like the turns where I would spew my creatures. I didn't have enough to actually convoke the pile on, and the turns where I had the creatures untapped, I want to be activating Reclaimer or Fiend Artisan anyways. Eh, I didn't see my previous league either. My guess is it's probably okay. Like I think you can have maybe one catch all that's like not super efficient 1 mana 0 mana, right? How do you feel about Reanimator? I cut Leons for Endurance and they've been great, but I'm nervous about Reanimator. I think it depends on what your deck, the rest of your deck does. I think so. Don't get me wrong. I felt less safe without ley lines, but at Eternal Weekend, I did beat it at least once. I don't know if it was twice, but I think I beat it once without any ley lines. And between Reclaimer, Seize, and this is 2 years ago, granted, so very different metagame, but Reanimator more or less looks the same. This was Eternal Weekend 2021, where the top 8 run that I had, right? I beat Reanimator without Leyline, and I think between Seize, Endurance, and Reclaimer, um, it's probably winnable without. If all you have is Endurance, I probably would not feel safe. So I guess Connor, the question is, what else do you have, right? Like if it's just Endurance, I would not feel safe against Reanimator, personally, because their best avenue of attack is generally hand disruption, and if they know the only card they need to worry about is endurance, I think that's easily beatable for a good reanimator player. Now, obviously, reanimator player, the crowd is on the newer side, but the deck is like easy enough where I think they can figure it out. So those are my thoughts, I guess, on reanimator. Anybody have any questions for the list that I played tonight? I think the only difference between what I played tonight and what I posted on Twitter was I don't have the power on, but I already said that card is probably not good, and I said I would play the Go for the Throat as like the catch all removal, right? And the reason why I'm not playing Assassin's, I do not want to give my opponent a land. Like I do absolutely do not want to do that. All right, let's see. I have three endurance, bog, priest, deafening silence, cannon. So when you say bog, how many reclaimers are you playing, or not of the reliquary? Not a reliquary, I think is like too slow, personally. But reclaimer, obviously, if you have it, it's like pretty good. Pyroblast doesn't do anything, right? As far as I can tell, outside of like show and tell hands. Um, So I think it depends. Answering key game. If I'm on the play of reclaimer hand, I probably just like YOLO it, right? I play the reclaimer. I hope they don't turn one me. Like, and they're boarding in more like disruption anyways. So like, if they have the turn one and I get got right, if I have on the play with reclaimer, I just live with it. That's true, but you are setting up a two card combo for whatever that's worth. Uh, Let me see. Three endurance. Like, how many reclaimers are you playing? If you're playing bog, I would assume you gotta play four, right? Or like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm biased, obviously. No reclaimer. Okay. I think you are vulnerable to reanimate for what it's worth because you have to have mox plus hate. It's not both, right? Like, because if you have either, it's probably too slow. Um, I personally, if you're not playing reclaimer, I probably wouldn't play bog. But I think if you're gonna knight for bog, it's a little too slow. But that's me. I also think just because you're a bad matchup to reanimator doesn't mean you have to play ley lines. It really depends on how the meta shakes out. I think like if that's your only bad matchup, I think that's like reasonable. For instance, and not like you're a 0%er. Like I just do think against something like reanimate, you need to turn one, right? Like turn two, even if you have mocks, that's like 40%, right? You have to like the math comes out so that it's a little sketch. Not that you can't do it, but it's harder. I don't think Soulless Jailer. I think Priest is probably better. Yeah, I mean obviously like Leyline is bar none the best graveyard hit in the game, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think blue players, in particular, do themselves a disservice by not some do, but like majority of them don't play Leyline. I think that's a mistake, and it's just out of principle because they want to like cantrip into graveyard hate. The problem is like you can cantrip at earliest like turn two, in my opinion, turn three, and by the time reanimator is gonna go off already. Like I just don't think it's fast enough. But that's a whole different topic. I'm a big Leyline stan, even though I'm not playing any of the moment, and that's only because Green has just gotten the addition of endurance, which I think is a ridiculous card from power level, right? Yeah. Anybody have any questions for me? I think regarding like graveyard hate, um, I would. It depends, right? Like, obviously you want to have two pieces of disruption, but like, if it's like reclaimer plus endurance, I'm gonna draw. I'll probably still keep it and just hope they don't turn to me, right? I would argue blue wasn't more versatile graveyard hate. Wants more versatile graveyard hate. That's I can see that point because of Uro and things like that, right? Like especially Delver, like you need a surgical to Uro or something like that. Sure, that's fair. I buy that. But I'm just saying, on average, I don't see pretty much ever a fair blue playing Leyline, and I don't think the answer is never. Like I'm pretty sure that I know some blue players would rather quit Magic than play Leyline the Void. Would I play Leyline at a big event or endurance? Out of which deck, Connor? If it's out of your deck, um, I don't know. I think endurance is a more flexible card, but a lot of it goes back to mapping, right? I think this is what I would play more or less at a big event right now. I don't really change between, and granted, that's with the caveat. I haven't played paper in forever, um, due to COVID, due to baby, due to whatever, right? Like, actually, let me do this. This might be helpful for people. I'm gonna bring up my sideboard map. This is on Patreon, so anybody who wants it can get access to it. But I think people don't really do this enough. And here's my cyber map, so you can tell how I map against people. Like for instance, I want clean. I know I want 6 cards out against Delver, right? Like Collector Oof, Atraxa, Creator. Sorry, Collector Oof, and basically the Natural Order package. That's 1+5. So I map it in a way where I'm guaranteed 6 cards to bring in. So if that means I have to play something like fewer Bowl Masters because I get to stretch my sideboard, then I rather have my main deck a little bit weaker because that's only 1/3 of the games compared to sideboard, which is 2/3 of your matches or games, right? And I think clean mapping is something that people don't do enough. So like I want exact numbers ideally, right? Like even against like control, right? I want Collector Oof to come out. I want ideally both copies of Endurance to come out, both Snuff Outs to come out, and then I board in like the season, the Gaddock Teeg, right? I don't think Varus. I think Veil is like a trap, but it's not really a card I want to bring in, or I don't really want to keep Endurance against control, even though that Earl, because as a non-blue deck, you can't shuffle away your situationally good cards. So I just want my cards to be always good, if that makes sense. Yeah, so like I think that screws like you can get away with it obviously if you just don't draw those like suboptimal cards in suboptimal situations, right? Like obviously you draw the endurance and they have Earl. That's like pretty solid, but I don't want to put myself in danger of that happening against like a control player, for instance. Now, Gaddock is a recent addition, so like I was short 1 card for a long time against control, for instance. Um, Obviously, if you care about Reanimator, right, like I do, like I don't want to keep in Alistair Shepard, right? It's not really. Granted, that's a little bit different because it's combo, right? Like only certain cards matter, like Veil, sorry, not Veil, like Seize and Endurances matter. Essentially, if you look at my sideboard, the way I built the deck now, it's like it's all haymakers in the sideboard, right? Like Jonathan, my buddy Jay Z, joke. This deck is just pretty much fire Go Gary design, right? And plus, or sorry, it's just free green black spells, plus the Hall of Fame of green black spells of all time, right? Like Natural Order, obviously powered up by Cradle, right? So now you can apply this to your deck. I sent this actually to Dukes, but whatever. I'm making this public, I guess, if you're watching this stream at this moment for the 24 of you. But I don't think. No, I cut crop because I just don't think it's an effective hate card, right? Like if I want my card to be good against graveyard, I'd rather just play the Leyline of the Void. I think crop is like, for me at least, a little bit not doesn't hit hard enough at the moment because you see all bombs pretty much on the sideboard, right? Like the outliers that go for the throw. I just don't have right now a better card in my opinion, and I think one I can live with that is kind of like not a haymaker, so to speak. This is just like a catch-all. All right. With that said, if there is no other questions, I can raid somebody. Right. So that's fine. Like, okay, let me bring up the what I call my sideboard optimizer. That's the other thing, right? So what I did here is like I did. This is like proprietary information, by the way, but I'm sharing it with everybody. Uh, Essentially, I have a scoring system that um,
One means it's like a bomb. Point that's like free. 0.75 is a bomb that's like situationally like the one pretty much it wins the game by itself. 0.75 means it's like a super efficient bomb. Point 0.5 point 0.5 is like a bomb that's lower. 0.25 is like a situational card. Now, based on that, I calculated the relative EV, right, based on percentage metagame. This is on my latest. This is like a week ago. I posted it on Patreon. But long story short, I get a number at the end, and I just want to use the highest numbers. Granted, it's not as easy as that because I can't just play multiple removal spells, right? I'm just gonna play the best one. So even though Push, for instance, has a higher score than some of the other cards, I'm just gonna play Snuff Out over Push, for instance, and not just play like 4 Snuff Out 4 Push. That doesn't make any sense because of mapping reasons. But this is more or less so the Cyborg Optimizer in conjunction with the map is how I build my list. Hopefully that makes sense. Math is sure. Thank you. I appreciate that, Park Shaden. But so map alone is not it, right? You have to have optimal sideboarding. Obviously, you can't have 11 cards in against Delver, or for instance. I mean, you could, I guess, right? But I'm being facetious. It's a combination of both, right? Like if I just use the numbers to play the cards I want to play, and then I use the map to essentially make it work so that the numbers come out cleanly. That's the best way I can explain it. And I get asked a lot, like, "Oh, why are you playing Snuff Out?" Like when Bowmasters is around. Like we don't care about Bowmasters. We saw the games, right? Like we don't draw any cards, so like they're like a 2 mana fire imp. It's not a big deal. Um, the other thing is, what was I gonna say? Oh, why am I playing Snuff Out? Like, we are pretty much the only deck that gets to play Snuff Out right now because we don't care about Bowmasters. So why not lean into that? Like, 0 mana Force of Terror is pretty good. What score did Library get? Okay, so that's a great question actually. I didn't include Library, uh, and the reason being is because the deck as currently constructed does not care about Bowmasters. In my opinion, Library was already kind of sketch because it's a 2 mana card. I would play that main deck if anything. It's like soft banned in my opinion right now out of in our deck because it opens up to Bowmasters for no reason. Is the real reason. I don't want to give value to Bowmasters when our deck for the most part does not care, right? Like we have only 1 drops and not even all of them. The dorks and the shepherd are weak to Bowmasters, but like if they want to trade down on mana, that like be my guest, right? Um, okay, so let's get into this. I guess like this is a math day. I guess. Endurance right here scored 30, and Leyline scored a 19. Actually, ironically enough, Fairy actually scored higher in the context of our deck because I would actually board it in against Grixis Death Shadow. Sorry, not Grix, yeah, Grixis Delver and Death Shadow. So within the context of our deck, Fairy actually even scored higher than Leyline. I suspect in your list that's not the case, but that's because of different decks. Like I can like nuke. The reason why Fairy scored higher is because I can like save my Fiend Artisan from Bowmasters or like shrink a DRC. Like it's kind of versatile, or protect myself against scam, right? But so that to me, for the within the context of this deck, yeah, this scored higher. I think endurance. There's nothing specific to our deck. I don't think compared to yours. So yeah, endurance scored higher than Leyline of the Void, and that matches intuitively too, right? Because it's more flexible. Now, flexible doesn't always mean better. Like I would rather take a slightly more narrow Haymaker that is 0 mana, like a Leyline Void, than something like a Rest in Peace, which is, in my opinion, unplayable because it's too slow. But that's me, right? So I guess maybe that answers your Wheel of Sun and Moon, right? I probably wouldn't play that card, but that's me. All right. If there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and raid. Anybody have any recommendations or anybody out they prefer I raid? Otherwise, the only person I see right now is PT Bench. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, especially we don't have Mox Diamonds. I would not. I don't want to play a 2 mana disruption spell. But that's me, right? If you look at my sideboard, it's all haymakers. All right, thank you for hanging out. It's been a long time since I streamed. I was on Duke's stream, so you want to check out that? That would be great. Actually, before I raid, here are my socials again. Make sure to check that out. Also, here's Duke's stream. Make sure to check that out. I would highly recommend that if you're trying to learn the deck because you have the unique perspective of what is it called? You have the unique perspective of somebody who is learning the deck. Whereas me, I'm like sometimes I'm like skip over things because I assume the audience knows and it's not as obvious. But that's Dukes' stream with me, and let's go ahead and raid PT bench then. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Also, if you want to catch cool content like this, you can sub to my Patreon.